Hey everyone, Reaper here again with another video. This is just really a response video to something that Nick made a few weeks back when it came to how he would just like to collect things that were in pretty good shape. It had nothing to do with value early on for him. It's just that he liked to get things in nice shape, and he asked those that were watching, is that the same for you? Make a video on it. And I decided, so it's not really a tag video, I'm just decided to answer the question. At least for me when it comes to my collecting habits. I have a bunch of different collecting habits, those of you that watch my channel, I have a couple restored books, and I have some books that are in the lower grade category. But I try to collect books that are in between the 4 to 6 range. I would say that's probably my target when it comes to some books, but I do have quite a few books that are below that. For me, I've always liked things that presented a certain way. Now, as we all know, with comic books, there could be books that are 3.0s and 2.5s, 4.5s, and so forth that still look pretty good. There are other things that keep it on the lower end of the grading spectrum. Other things that may not be so apparent when you see them. But there have been books, and I'm sure many of you out there have seen books that are 4.0s that say, hey, that looks like a pretty good 4.0. Some examples I have are right here. This is a pretty good example of Conan the Barbarian #1 5.0. So it's not an extraordinary grade by any means. However, for me, upon looking at it, sure, it has some flaws, and you really can't see from where you're at. But to me, it looks like it's better than a 5.0. Now, I don't have the grader's notes, so I'm sure there are other things involved that is really the reason why the graders decided to go with a 5.0. But the point I'm trying to make is it looks nice. It looks really nice for a 5.0. From where you could see it, and if you had it in your hands, it looks better than a 5.0. So that's what I go for. I don't necessarily go for things that are super high grade, but I like things to look pretty good. And that's just the way I've always been. Here's another example. Another 5.0. Green Lantern 76. Okay? It's another copy that from afar, and if you had it in your hands, looks better than a 5.0. But there are other things that keep it from being higher. But as long as it presents well, long as it is in nice shape, pleasant on the eye, has eye appeal, that's what I go for. And this is something that I've always been this way. I've always been this way ever since a kid. Even when I was collecting games, as you maybe can figure out, I've always kept the cellophane on them. I got this game the day it came out, back in 1992. And this wrapper has been on it ever since it left the production line in Japan. And that's just the way I do things. That's just the way I like to have things. Inside, I got all the little things. It's got to have the booklet. It's got the original map that it came with, and it's got the instruction manual and a bunch of other little things. Why I'm like that? Why, I know some people, they'll collect things that may not necessarily be in the best of shape, and I got some stuff like that too. But I don't know. It's just, I've always feared, I guess stemming back to when I was younger, I always try to keep things in good shape when it comes to maybe games, as I just showed you. Some people, they have games where the label is being practically ripped off. I get it when you're a kid, you do things like that. You maybe mark things up with a marker or a pen. I was never one of those kids. For the reason being, it's because I knew back then, and I took this into adulthood, that those things wouldn't be replaced. I didn't want to, I didn't mess around or leave my games out in the open where they could become lost or damaged. I didn't do that with my action figures when I was a kid. I collected, or I had action figures, because I knew that my mother wasn't going to buy me another one of these things. So I tried to keep things in decent shape. And as I got older, when I used my own money to go out and buy things, whether it was games, whether it was comic books, whether it was whatever I was into at the time, I always went with something that looked good, and I tried to keep it in good shape. So I had to take good care of what I had and make sure it would last over the years. And I took that into adulthood with collecting comic books and other little things, games and so forth. I like it to look a certain way, and I kept it a certain way. So, what about you? Write in comments. Is there a reason why you go for a specific condition in something, whether it's a comic book, whether it's a game, whether it's a figure, whether it's cards, whatever it may be, or you just you don't really care. I'd be interested in hearing what you think, how you feel on the subject. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take care.